Hello guys, Dan here, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I will show you how to paint the Combined Army action pack for the Code 1 from the start to finish. So we will paint the whole 10 models. We will do everything from priming the model, basing the model. I will show you how to pin the model, and as well I will try to follow and paint them close to this art on the box. So without further ado, let's start. I kept the original bases separated from the models at this moment because I will do another video how to do the bases. But for now I put the models, I actually very lightly super glued them to the temporary bases, which I'm not afraid to mess up while I do the prime work and when I paint after it. I will prime all the models black, so I will use the airbrush here, but you can use the spray paint or even the paintbrush, whatever it's easier for you. I'm just cannot spray it outside because the temperature here is like above 50 degrees centigrade, so it's super humid and hot and it's impossible to spray outside. So I'm quite forced to use the airbrush for this, and I found it better for me with the airbrush because I have much more control how I apply my base. I can try to cover every single place of the model, so you will try to do the same to have an even coat all around the model and to cover 100% of it, so you don't want to see any metal parts anywhere. This is how your models should look like after priming. So 100% black, not a single place where you can see any metal parts from before. We will start with painting the red details of the model first. So I will use Khorne Red as my base color. I will add little drops of water to this color, and as well I will put it on my wet palette so it flows better. And I will start covering like all the muscle parts from these models. And as well on the other models that have the cloth, I painted cloth with this. I just need to give you a little advice here. This color is really transparent and we are painting over the black base, so you will have to apply this in 2 or maybe even 3 very thin coats to have a nice coverage. So this is just for your reference, just to see how I block the colors on my models, so you can follow the same scheme on every model. I will go from time to time just to this showcase and I will show you all the models from the box, so at least you have idea what colors I blocked and which parts I blocked, so you can easily follow the same scheme. The thing I did is I googled the concept art for these models, and there were like a lot of pictures with the concept art. I couldn't put them in the video because they're copyrighted, but I think if you Google them, you will get like a nice reference sheet, so how you can block the same colors. For Sheskiin here, I painted only lower part of her cloak with the Khorne Red, while the top part I will paint with another red later. So for the second brighter red, we will use Evil Sun Scarlet, and we will paint, so I will use this for the hair of the Sheskiin, and then I will paint the upper part of her cloak. As well, some models have like a different part of the cloak that you want to be in a brighter red, so I will paint those parts as well. And as well I will mark all the knuckles on all the models, so every single knuckle So it's probably on every single joint of the finger you put a little dot. It's really beautifully sculpted there, so there is no way you can make a mistake. You can really mark a really nice dots on the hands and it will really make them pop up. Here on the mentor is that he have this little scarf that I mentioned, that this is like a perfect example like of the piece of the cloth that you want to be a brighter red. On the Malignos I only painted the shoulders and the helmet bright red, as well as these little exhaust sockets that he have on the back. On the Gwailo it's a helmet, chest guard and this like a honeycomb thing on the back. And for the Calibans you will just paint the end of their these little thorns that they have on the back. And at the end on the Shrouded, just his hand and this little stripe on top of his head. Now we need to paint all the helmets, so we will use the bone white and we will apply this as well, like in 2 or 3 very thin coats. So paint all the bone parts of this model. So usually they only have it on their head and they have this little like claw on the side of their leg. And as well, these models have a different markings. Some of them they have it on the arms, some of them have it on the pieces of armor. So I just tried to freehand them in the same shapes I found it on the box. So this guy have like a little like a sergeant rank or something on his left shoulder, and he has something on his waist as well. I use the same color for all the different markings on the armor, so just take your like the tiniest brush and just first sketch it and then just go later and reinforce all these different shapes that they have. I just copied everything from the box, so however they were marked on the box, I just copied the same. After I'm done here, I will show you one more time like a couple of different models, so you can pause here and copy the same schemes that I did if you just wanna do the same thing. For little purple details that they have, I will use a Xereus Purple. So on the Sheskiin, it's just these little sockets that she have on the back of her armor. And then for the Gwailo, I painted these like little exhausts on his jetpack with this purple, as well a couple of details that he have on his armor as well. Like these little lights that he have in his gauntlets and the shoulders. Just take your tiniest, most pointy brush and just paint them inside Don't stress too much if you paint on the edges of these holes, because it will create effects of light reflection, but as well we'll repaint this part again after the wash, so it's not a big deal. On your Calibans, I used this color only to paint the braids and this little shoulder item. And for the rest of the details on the armor, I used the Stegadon scale green. So with this I covered a few details on the Gwailo that he have a different color. As well, I used this color to paint all the magazines and the barrels of the guns. And as well, some of the models are carrying some kind of pouches and the backpacks, so I used this color as well and painted those. On the Calibans, I painted these top two spikes on their jetpacks with this color as well, just to make them a little different. With this moment, you can go back to your primary black color and just go around the model and fix all the little mistakes that you did. So wherever you just accidentally painted with the colors on the black parts of the armor, that we actually don't want them to be any different color than black, so just go and fix all the tiny mistakes that we did. And last thing that we need to do before the wash is to paint the Sheskiin's face. So we will use a Celestra Grey and just put a base color on her face. This color is really transparent, so it will be like 2 or 3 very thin coats to have a good coverage there. I will show you how I'm making my wash. So I will use a dark tone and Quickshade washing medium, and I will put an equal amount of it. So I think I put 10 drops of the dark tone and 10 drops of the Quickshade wash medium, and then I will just mix everything with my very old brush, so just to have a nice and even consistency around. And then I will just wash the whole model. So 100% of model cover with this wash. Only thing I would like you to do is to pay attention to the pooling on the flat areas, like especially on the models that have cloaks. So be careful there, and if you see any pooling, just dry your brush and scoop the excess paint from it. After wash is properly dried, in my case I think it took like 40 minutes or 1 hour, so we will go back to our base Khorne Red, and we will go around the model and we will reinforce the red wherever shade make it too dark. So I will just suggest you to cover like maybe 85 to 90% of the previous color, but leave all the recesses dark and all the linings black that are made with the wash. And we will do the same with the Evil Sun Scarlet. Here as well you can paint their eyes as well with this color. And I need to apologize, something happened here with my camera. I don't know, was it white balance or the camera got overheated, or maybe because at this time of day it started getting dark outside. something really happened with my colors and become like it lost the white balance, it lost the brightness, so something unexplained happened here, which I find out only when I start editing the video. We will use the Squig Orange for all our dark red parts, and we will use this as our final highlight. So we will use it as an edge highlight on all the armor panels that have the sharp edges, and on all of these muscles you will just put a little dots on the top of it. So be really thorough with it and try to mark every single one, because this will really pop the model and make the contrast from the black parts of the armor that they wear, and actually they have a lot of black parts, so this is like one of your most important highlights on the model. And here I will show you an example of the cloth parts, so you will only draw lines on the folds of the clothes. For our brighter red, we will use a Fire Dragon Bright, and we will do the totally same process as before. So on the cloth parts you will highlight the edges, and then you will use this color to highlight their eyes, and you will use it on every single knuckles that they have. So put a little dot on all the knuckles and the little joints on the hands and the fingers. So I will do here a little showcase of every model, so you can see at this stage how the models look like, so you can pause here and just follow the same guide. Here on the Gwailo, on his honeycombs that he have on his backpack, just highlight every single line that he have, so they will look beautiful if you do that. Now it's time to highlight their helmets and these markings that they have on their armor. So we will go back to the bone white, and then we will cover like 90% of the previous color because we want them to be really bright. So reinforce all the markings that became darker from the wash, and when you go doing the helmets, or actually the bone parts, leave all the recesses dark, so go very lightly and just try to cover the most raised areas, but try to leave all the details dark. On a Sheskiin's cloak, if you had a pulling like I did here, I was just not paying attention, so it just happened. Go like in a 2-3 very thin coats and just lightly cover it, so it will disappear, and then you will have a good coverage of all parts of this model. And for our final highlight, we will use a Screaming Skull, and you apply this only on the most raised areas of their helmets or the heads. And for the markings that they have, just draw little thin lines just to highlight those markings as well. On the cloth parts that I painted with this color, will you just do the edge highlight. For the purple parts on this model, we will use Genestealer Purple and just add it as a final highlight. So in these lights that he have in his gauntlets, just a little tiny dot inside will make it pop. The Sheskiin we will use Ulthuan Grey, and we will highlight her face, but only the most raised areas of the face, like forehead, cheeks, top of the nose. For the blue parts of the armor, we will use 1000 Sunz blue, and we will just do the edge highlight on these armor panels that they have, and all the pouches and the little bags that these models are carrying, you will highlight them as well with this color. Also, don't forget to highlight all your magazines on the guns as well. Our most important highlight will be to highlight the black parts. We will use a Fenerisian Grey, and we will edge highlight every single sharp line of the gun, of the black armor parts, so literally of everything. I timed this when I was doing it, so it took me like between 12 and 15 minutes per model. So this will be very time consuming, so expect at least like 2 or even 3 hours of doing this. My hand was hurting so badly at the end, but the result was impressive. I was amazed how this actually changed the look of the models at the end. For the swords, I was changing my decision all the time which color to paint them, and then I just returned to the Evil Sun Scarlet and I just painted them red, which actually I could do it in the first step of painting this model, but anyway, it's not too late to do it now. So just base color all your swords red, and then later we will go and highlight them. For the highlight, I use the Fulgrim Pink and just apply the edge highlight on the cutting edge and as well on the top edges of the swords. And then when you finished, use your tip of your brush and just draw these little angled lines to create the effect of the reflection on the swords. I use the brass scorpion just to paint this little accessory on the mentor's hand, and I won't do any details on it. For these little brick walls that the models are standing on, I used the Jokero Orange and just applied two very thin coats on it. For all these little metallic parts on the part of this brick wall, like all these little tubes and walls that are there, use the Leadbelcher and just apply in one very thick coat just to have a good coverage. And then after that's dried, use the Agrax Earthshade and make one good thick wash of the whole wall. After wash is dried, just pick up some of your old brush, and I use the Tyrant Skull dry paint and just dry brush the highlight on it. It's very rough dry brush, you don't need to be really detailed here because it's a base and you don't want it to draw attention from your model, so you just want it to be subtle. Now I will show you how I transfer my models. So I will just separate them from this previous base that I just lightly glue them. I need to suggest you to wear the gloves whenever you touch your freshly painted model because your body fluids will chip the paint. Now I will take the clippers and just cut this part and make a little pin at the bottom of her leg, so I can use that pin to glue it on the base. And then I will dry fit the model on the base, so actually I will find the spot where I want to pose this model, and then I will mark the spot and take a little drill that I have and just drill the hole there. And then I will just apply super glue to the pin that I made, and I will just glue it in the hole and keep it for a couple of seconds so the glue starts reacting, and that's it. The transfer is completed and the model is pinned. For all the grass tufts, this is the ones that I actually painted myself, so just apply the dot of super glue and just apply them like on any spaces that you want them to be interesting. if you're actually interested how I made this, I will publish the video in 2-3 days about how I made these bases, how I made these little crystals, and how I made the grass tufts that will go together with this. I didn't want them to attach that video together with this one because this one is already too long. And if you watch this video any other day in the future, the link will probably be in the description below how to do these bases. And that will complete this tutorial, guys. This is like the finished process, and the whole box is done. I have to say I really enjoyed painting these models. They are greatly sculpted and they are really joy and very easy to paint. So guys, I hope this video helped you, like how will you paint your box. It took me around, I think, 20 something working hours to finish this whole box. So if you paint like a couple of hours every evening, you can have like the whole box painted in a week. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like. If you'd like to know when I publish next video, please click that little bell so you will get notifications. I'm trying to do 2 videos every week, but sometimes like a job interrupts, so sometimes it's not possible, but I'm giving my best to do at least 2 every week. If you have any comments or suggestions, or what would you like to see me painting next, please make a comment below and I will do my best. So this is all for now. Stay safe, take care, and bye bye.